Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 162, and I am Lisa, your host, also known as Fiber Nymph on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. I am grossly out of practice doing a podcast, apparently. I mean, I know it hasn't been all that long. It's been about a week and a half. Melissa and I recorded after Maryland, but that wasn't a regular episode. So it's been a few weeks since I did a regular episode. So I sat down today. I was going to get this recorded first thing. I did the whole show part, which wasn't very long, actually. And then I did the shop segment, and that's fine. But then I went to process it, and I realized I left like important things out of the first segment that I needed to talk about. So I'm re-recording the first segment. So hopefully this won't feel too scattered because I've already talked about a lot of stuff and now I'm going to do it again. At any rate, let me say hello to some people because I did not get to do that when I recorded with Melissa. I just wanted to say hi to the people who have introduced themselves on the 90% Knitting board. There's Sandy from Ontario, Tanya from New York, Yvette from Colorado, and Smilin' with Maddie in Pennsylvania. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for introducing yourselves. I wanted to apologize for not getting any links up from all my stuff, my stash acquisitions from Maryland. I had really wanted to do that in lieu of actual show notes, because there weren't really show notes from the last episode since it was just mostly Melissa and I recapping our trip to DC and Maryland. But I had wanted to at least link to the vendors where I had purchased things, and I just didn't get around to it. So if you have any questions about anything I showed in that last episode, please just PM me on Ravelry or write something in the episode thread. I'll be happy to give you whatever information I can find. It ended up being a goofy week last week. Melissa left on Monday. I had some work I needed to get done to meet some last lingering deadlines. Got that done, but other than that, I pretty much crashed. And I knew it was coming. It seems like every time I go through a really, really busy phase of life, that's what happens. And it usually happens in the form of me getting sick, like really coming down with a bad cold or something. That did not happen this time, thank goodness. And knock on wood, it hasn't yet either. But definitely after Melissa left and after I finished up those last few things I needed to get out, my brain and my body just said, okay, that's enough. I had the hardest time getting back into the swing of working last week. I was out, and I was actually just exhausted, and I was even too tired to knit. So there's not even a whole lot of knitting to show you this time. There's some, but it was just one of those weeks. I just needed rest, and so that's mostly what I did. Plus, it got to be about 80 degrees last week. We had some crazy hot weather, like not at all typical for this area at this time of year. High 80s, we even hit the low 90s a day or two. So with the heat and the humidity that came with it, my body was like, I was not complaining about it because I was loving it. The warmth felt great, but it was just, I wasn't acclimated to it. So it kind of took its toll as well. And, but being nice out, I wanted to be outside and working, and I did get the mower deck put on my tractor, so I was able to mow, and I think I've actually mowed my entire yard front and back, like all of it, the big stuff, 3 times in the past week and a half since I got the tractor running again. The backyard was so high that I could have probably baled it the first time I cut it. So I cut it, and then a few days later I went back and cut it again, not because it had grown so much, but because I really wanted to mulch up some of the big heavy stuff that had been laying there. And since it had dried out, that was easier to do. And then I mowed it again this week, even though it wasn't super long, but I knew it was going to get cooler and start raining again, and that always makes grass grow. So I've been outside a lot, mowing and getting some sun. The sun feels so good. I'm actually getting a nice tan for early in the year. I know, tanning is not healthy, but I like having a tan. I feel healthier. So anyway, that was a lot of last week. And then Mother's Day was on Sunday. I didn't really do anything overly exciting for Mother's Day. yeah, Christopher spent the night, Saturday night, like he usually does, and he made me dinner and brought me flowers. I did get other flowers for Mother's Day, so that was nice. And, you know, but it was mostly a quiet Sunday. So those of you who celebrated Mother's Day on Sunday, I hope you had a nice day. I know it's not a happy day for everybody, but if you celebrated, I hope it was good. What else? That's pretty much it. This week I have been back in full swing. Dying. Oh my gosh. When we get to the shop segment, just be patient with me because I talk a lot because I've got so much to show you. And I can say that because I've already recorded it. Lots of stuff going up in the shop update this Saturday. Saturday at 10 a.m. Saturday the 16th. Lots of stuff. Colorways you've already seen. I've got new colorways. I've got a new product thing that you haven't seen, that I haven't done before, so you haven't quite seen it. I'm just really excited about this update, and I hope you will be too. So that'll be coming later on in the show. Obviously, excuse me, I'm a little froggy. Yeah, so anyway, it's just been a busy week, but I wanted to get this out, and I'm going to try to get this all recorded again and remember to tell you everything that I failed to tell you the first time I recorded it. Let me just show you what I have worked on, because like I said, not a whole lot of knitting last week, but what I have worked on, I've really worked on. And the main thing I've worked on has been my Canopy shawl. And this is the Canopy shawl pattern by Mandarines, who's Melody from the Mandarines podcast. I am loving this project. I finished the body. So here we go. I've got the body. There are 4 stockinette sections and 3 lace panels. And I just absolutely love how this turned out. I'm not sure if it's focusing because I can't see through it. Hopefully it is. Anyway, it's beautiful. I love this pattern. And it wasn't totally mindless, but it became intuitive as I was doing it. So like I could read my knitting in the lace, which I can't always do because that's not necessarily my forte. But the body is done, and I've started on the applied edging, which I'm loving. That I have memorized, and it's going really pretty fast. Like I can get through a segment of applied edge in one point, probably at least in 5 minutes. It goes pretty quickly, but I'm sort of pacing myself because I don't want it to end. I'm really enjoying it. The yarn I'm using is my old Serenity base, which I don't carry anymore because my distributor quit carrying it. But it was the 80% superwash merino, 20% bamboo, which I love, love, love. My main color, both of these colors that I'm using were test skeins when I was doing a club colorway a couple years ago. They're not ones that I dye now. But anyway, the main color I ran out of. Well, when I finished with the body, I had a little ball about this big left of yarn. That was it. So I am using the contrasting, the other skein, which is working out perfectly. I love how it's happening because, you know, the main color has that blue in it. It's just a more muted version of the blue. And then the edging yarn has the pops of purple. So the edge is the darker blue, but you've still got those little pops of purple in there. So it's coordinating so nicely. I don't know that the pops of purple are really showing up, but you can see them. There's like one here and one here. So anyway, I'm just in love with this shawl. I cannot wait to have it done so that, I mean, like I said, I don't want to finish it fast because I'm enjoying doing the edging. And I'll tell you what, applied border, I've done them before, and I've always enjoyed them because it's so much nicer than having to bind off like 200 or 300 stitches at the end of a shawl. I don't have to worry about if it's stretchy enough because I'm just knitting. I'm still knitting, so it's going to be stretchy. It's great. And I'll definitely have way enough yarn for that. There'll be a good bit left over. So anyway, hopefully by the next time I record, this will be a finished project. Whether or not it'll be blocked, I don't know. I'm behind on blocking shawls. I still have not blocked my Another Door Opens shawl. Still have not blocked my Age of Brass and Steam blocking shawls. I procrastinate on it because I'm so picky about how I block things. I want them to be blocked perfectly, and it takes me forever to get them all arranged nicely. So that's why I tend to procrastinate. Then I have a pile of shawls that need to be blocked. So anyway, that has been my main knitting. But the other thing that I had wanted to show you last time, and I didn't get to because I forgot to bring it in, was the sock that I worked on while I was away at Maryland. And let me get this arranged. It's all tangled. Here it is. This is my Cookie Monster sock. The yarn is another Crafty Girl's Strong Sock base, which I've got a bunch of her yarn in my stash, and I finally decided to break some out and actually use it instead of just looking at it because it's all so pretty. But this is her Cookie Monster colorway, and I absolutely loved how it was spiraling here at the beginning. It made me so happy. And I did not want to disrupt the spiral, so I decided to do an afterthought heel. But actually, by doing that and then having to go to stockinette on the bottom, it did disrupt it. So it's not quite doing the spiral the same way it was. It's now more of a zigzag, and actually more of the white is on the sole of the foot at this point. But I'm just doing a 2x1 rib. It's nothing fancy, just plain 2x1 rib, which I'm carrying down onto the instep. I'm close to being able to do my toe decreases. I think maybe I have an inch left or so to go, and then I can do my toe decreases, and then I'll cast on the other sock. And then I'll probably do the heels at the end just because, well, I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But anyway, neither here nor there. My usual US 1.5 needles, and I love Sarah's colorways. She's an amazing dyer. So I'm glad I'm finally using some of her yarn instead of just hoarding it. Here's what it looks like in the ball. So just fun, yummy colors. That's it. That's all the knitting I've been doing. And my design work is still languishing. Don't even want to talk about it. But hopefully now that things are slowing down a little, I'll be able to get the cowl, the Rambler cowl design finally finished up, and my sock design that I'm working on. Get more progress made on that. I have done some spinning. I finally finished spinning the Unwind Yarn Company's Swirl BFL that I was doing in the Harvest Moon colorway. I finished spinning it, I think last week maybe, kind of when I was in my not doing much of anything zone. And then I sat up last night and I plied it. And oh my goodness, it took forever to ply. I started plying it. I watched Amy Beth's latest episode, The Fat Squirrel Speaks. When I started it, I started the podcast and I started plying, and it took the entire podcast to ply all of this yarn, and then a little bit of time. I ended up with about 315 yards of a fingering weight yarn, and I was really plying pretty quickly. So it's not altogether as even as it should be in some spots, but it's about a fingering weight, I would say, overall. I was plying on my sidekick because I have the jumbo bobbin, the flyer for that. So it's nice because I can get this much yarn all on one bobbin. But I'll tell you what, I don't like using that jumbo flyer on the sidekick. I've decided I can't get it to treadle evenly. It like goes fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow. I don't know why. And I've tried, there's not a whole lot you can adjust. And I don't know if it's maybe just because I'm doing it on carpet and not on a solid base. Maybe that would help. I've thought about putting like my cutting board or something heavy and big under the front part of the thing to see if it would steady it and maybe make it easier to treadle more evenly. But I'm seriously thinking about maybe breaking down and getting a woolly winder instead to do my plying on, because I know you can get more yarn on a woolly winder bobbin than a traditional hooked bobbin. But I don't know. We'll see. But it's done and I'm really happy with it. It obviously has not been soaked yet, but these colors are fabulous. I love Dana's colors. So anyway, and I love her Swirl BFL. And I'm sad that she's not going to be dyeing fiber again for quite a while, as far as I know, if ever, because she's quite pregnant, and dyeing fiber isn't fun when you're pregnant. So anyway, at least that would be my assumption. I wasn't dying back in the days I was pregnant. So alrighty, that's everything that I have worked on since you last saw a normal episode from me. I don't have any new things to show you because I did all that damage at Maryland. I did want to let you know I got a PM from Life Full of Laugh on Ravelry, who is Lisa, and she wanted to just ask me to share the news that she has started a Facebook group to do mini skein swaps. She said she knows there's lots of them on Ravelry, but she thought it'd be fun to do one on Facebook too. So I will put that link to that group in the show notes, and if you're interested, you can go there. It's a closed group, so you have to approve your joining, but I'm sure she will. I assume she will anyway, or she wouldn't have told me about it. So anyway, you can check that out if you are interested and you're working on mini projects and need more yarn. I haven't touched mine. That's something that I just haven't done. I don't know why. Just not in that zone right now, and that's fine. The only other thing I need to talk to you about, and this is where I really got into weird babbly things the first time I tried doing this, is about the cow, okay? The alphabet cow, which will be starting in June. I'm still working on getting all the details written up in an understandable form. A lot of chatter is going on in the thread on Ravelry, so go there and you can read. I was catching up this morning because I had gotten behind on messages, both PMs and in that thread, and so I wanted to make sure I caught up on that stuff before I recorded today. I believe I have answered all of the questions that have been asked about the cow, and if I haven't, please feel free to ask again. I made a huge mistake when I was replying to one of the questions earlier today because someone asked about the designer name. How were we supposed to go use the designer name, you know, for points? First name, last name. So I went through this huge big explanation when I was replying in the thread, only to realize when I recorded the first time around that the designer name isn't even a part of any of the points. I don't know. I guess I hadn't had enough coffee. I don't know. But long story short, the designer name is not relevant when it comes to earning points or choosing when you can do their pattern. The designer can be anybody, anytime. The alphabet does not apply to that. Again, the 4 ways you can earn points are the pattern name, and that is the one that is required. It has to be, like in June, it has to be a pattern that starts with the letter A through F, one of those letters. That is what qualifies you to enter your project for June's knit-along, or the June segment of the knit-along. Then you can also optionally end up earning points by the yarn company name starting with one of those letters, and or the colorway, yarn colorway name starting with one of those letters, but those are optional. Those don't have to be applicable, only the pattern name. But if you do end up getting all 3 of those items in your one project, or in one project, then you earn a bonus point for that project. You can do as many projects as you want every month. It doesn't matter, as long as it has that one main requirement of the pattern name starting with that letter. If you want to do 5 of the same pattern in the same month, that's fine too. You just have to put a separate entry up, or separate picture up for it. Okay, so designer name doesn't matter. One of the questions that I got a lot in that thread was about what if the pattern name or the colorway name starts with a number. You know, like 198 Yards of Heaven is a pattern. A lot of commercial yarns don't have colorway names, they just have numbers. In that case, we are going by how the number is spelled. So like 198 yards starts with 1, which starts with an O, so it would be in the O range of the alphabet, which is August, M through S. Okay, same way, like if you have yarn colorway 4329, you know, it would start with 4, so 4 starts with an F, so that would fall in the June category of A through F. Someone asked about if the spelling of the number needs to be in English, or if it can be in their native language if they are not American or from a country that speaks English. I think the person was from Germany or spoke German. I am going to just make the call that please use the English spelling, because I don't speak a ton of different languages and I'm the one who has to verify all these entries. So it would be just way easier for me if we could default to using English for the numbers, the spellings. And The only exception to that would be pattern names. If the pattern name is actually something that's written in another language, and that is the official pattern name, then by all means use the first letter of whatever it is, whatever language it is. You don't have to interpret the pattern name or anything. But for the colorway number, let's use English numbers. Okay. Just for me and for my sanity. Let me think if there were any other questions. I told you again where the points are coming from. Oh, someone had asked about using hand spun fiber to knit with, and that's fine. She said the fiber came from somebody who she only knows her name. So in that case, if you only know the dyer's name that you're using, their fiber or whatever, go with the first letter of their first name, just to keep it simple. Double dipping is fine with me. If whatever you're doing applies to another knit along, you can do that. I don't care. As long as it's good with the other knit along, you're fine. I think that's it. Oh, and somebody also asked about if you're doing a project that has multiple yarns in it, if you're doing something that has 3 different yarns and all 3 of them have start with a colorway letter that falls into that range, do you get 3 points? No. Or do all 3 of them have to be in there to get the point? No. As long as one qualifies, then you get that point. It doesn't have to be all of them. But you won't get extra points for using more than one either. Okay, so I think that's all the questions that have been answered so far, and I've answered all of them. So if there's any more questions or whatever, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. And like I said, I'm working on getting all that written up, and hopefully it won't be too complicated. And hopefully I won't make up answers to things that aren't even part of the knit along anymore. Oh my goodness. That was so funny. That's about it. I think that's it for the 90%. 10%, like I said, it's just been unseasonably hot here. Not complaining. Of course, last night it went back down into the 30s and my furnace kicked on. So whatever. It's May in the bird. We get this. Emma is coming home next week. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. I won't be recording next week because I will be down in Charlotte for a few days, picking her up and bringing her home. I would like to say I'm doing that for the summer. She's coming home for summer, but she's not. She'll only be home for about 10 days because she has a summer job down at school. But she's driving back down to school with a friend who's taking her car down for the summer. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense to fly her home. So I'm just going to drive down, and I added an extra day to the trip so that I can have a day to relax. I'm staying at a fairly nice hotel, which actually in uptown Charlotte, most of them are fairly nice hotels. So you don't have options. And I'm going to just pamper myself and relax because I think I should. Why not? So anyway, that's why I won't be recording next week, but I will be back with you the following week. Other than that, I've just been, again, enjoying the nice weather. I'm loving being able to wear my springy, summery clothes. I actually bought some new stuff. I don't buy clothes a lot because I'm cheap. And I tend to wear clothes to death. Plus, I'm here at home and I dye almost every day, so I don't wear nice things while I'm here at home dyeing. You know, I wear drab, dark colors that can get splattered. But I did buy some new clothes, and it was very exciting because I was at Target. And Target I have a love-hate relationship with. I love their styles, but they're cut small, so they've been historically difficult to fit. This time, I was getting into things, like even in smaller sizes than I usually would, and I'm like, yes. So that was exciting. I love it whenever, I know the gym is paying off. I feel better. My clothes fit better in general. But when you can go into a store and get into clothes that you typically can't get into, and they fit and they look good, something's going well. So I've been happy about that. Yeah, and other than that, it's just life as normal around here. Like I said, this week I got back into my dyeing, pretty full force, and yeah, life's back to normal. As normal as it ever gets around here. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to stop now. If you're not going to watch the shop section, then I'll say goodbye to you here. If you are, hang on, and that will be coming up. Like I said, I've already recorded that segment since I've recorded once already. It's one of those days. But anyway, I hope you're having a good week, and I hope you're having good weather. And those of you who still had snow last week, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I hope it's going away. Anyway, have a great week. Happy knitting, and I will talk to you after I get back from my trip next week. Bye. Okay, I'm back. First of all, as far as shop news, I just wanted to let you know the May minis of the month, the pre-orders did go up last Friday. Last I checked, there's one pre-order left, so if you want to grab that, go ahead. This is what they look like. The stripy one is called Spring Skies, and the semi-solid is my China Blue colorway, semi-solid colorway. So it's 3 stripes. You will have it's actually this China Blue, but it's half strength. The darkest one is half strength of that. And then there's a very pale blue, and then there's a silvery gray. And honestly, if I look out at my sky right now, this is what I see. It's these colors. So it's just pretty because that silver is kind of like that underside of the light clouds. Love it. So anyway, there's one more of these left. These will all ship out by the end of May. And honestly, by the time I dye these up, if that one is still left in the shop, I'll probably just take it down, and then the extras I'll put up in the shop at a later date. So anyway, but if you would like to get in on the pre-order, I think there is still one available. Okay, there will be a shop update this Saturday, which is May 16th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And I'm looking around me, and it's going to be huge. It's always funny. You know, I usually dedicate like 2, maybe 3 days to dyeing for a shop update, and like that's all I dye those couple of days, and so it never feels like it's going to be that much. And then sometimes when I get done and I look at everything, I'm like, wow. But that's also because a lot of times I'm dyeing special orders prior to that, and because I dye at least 2 things at a time when I'm doing special orders, the extras end up being thrown in here. So I've got some special order extras, and I've got some things that were left over from when I did those pre-orders of some of the colorways. I've got a lot. So I'm just going to try to go through this and show it to you. I've got new colorways to show you. I am so excited about these new colorways. I hope you will be too. And I've got a new item that I have never dyed before, and it probably will be a limited availability item because it was a major pain in the butt. But some of the best things are just pains in the butt, aren't they? Okay. Let's start with the new item. I haven't dyed lace weight in a while for the shop, and I swore up and down when I started doing lace weight that I would never, ever, 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 ever. Isn't that a song? Never, ever. I would never do anything that involved striping or gradients, anything that had to be wound and reskeined with lace weight. The tangle factor just freaked me out. However, a while back, and this was probably a couple months ago now, I had this brilliant idea like, but what if I did lace weight gradients? And so I had them wound. The one girl who does my gradient winding for me, I gave her yarn to do, and she did it, and I've dyed it. So it was a learning curve, okay? I've got 3 different colorways in lace weight gradients. There's 2 each. And here's what they look like. So this is my Elegance lace weight, which is superwash merino, 80% superwash merino, 20% silk, 875 yards. Yes, there are 875 yards in this ball. This is the Colors of Happiness colorway. So this is 7 colors. It's a color block gradient, just like all my other gradients. I love how it turned out. They turned out beautifully, but I was not amiss in my thinking about the tangle factor because we did have some learning curve stuff going on when it came to reskeining this. So I do believe all of the yeah, all of this colorway, these are fine. I also did Rainbow Riot. There will be 2 of these. One of these has a knot. There was no yardage lost, but there is a knot because there was a tangle issue that we could not get out any other way. So that one will be marked down a little bit. But Rainbow Riot, it also has, these all have 7 segments, 7 color block segments. There's red on either end of this one. So, and then this one is a new colorway. It is yet to be named. And this was also the first one that we were rescanning. And we did have issues. So this one has both a knot and a tiny little bit of yardage lost in this green segment. Not very much, like maybe a couple of grams worth of yardage, but it will be priced down accordingly because of that. And I have no idea what we're naming it yet. We haven't gotten that far. I think it was in that, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, I think it was in the blue, not the green. I'm sorry. This outer blue. So this starts with kind of a lighter shaded blue, a lighter shade of purple, and then this lighter shade of tanny beige. And then it goes into green, and then there's a darker blue, the darker purple, and the darker brown. So this is it. There are 6 of these that will be up total. I think like the color block sock gradients, these are definitely going to be limited availability items just because of the crazy amount of time it takes to do them. And now that we've learned what not to do to avoid the tangles, it might be a little easier, but still. I don't even know if there's going to be interest for these, honestly, because it's lace weight, and lace weight isn't always something that sells super, super fast. But if you like lace weight and you're interested in a color block gradient, here you go. We'll give it a try. So there will be those in the shop. There will be, I had a special order for one of my Rainbow Riot mini skein sets. So I have 3 of those left. So there will be 3 of those in the shop for you if you would like a rainbow set of mini skeins. I have 2 of the April minis of the month sets left over. That was Growing Peas and Carrots, which is the self-striping, and then the Dirt Brown semi-solid. So those last 2 of those will be up in the shop ready to purchase. There's a lot of inversible sets I'll be putting up this time that are mostly, like, I get special orders for inversibles all the time. I dye them in sets of 4, so the extras go to you guys. And there's always extras, at least 1 or 2, depending on how many people are ordering the same colorways. So some of the ones that I know I have ready, and I know there's more, I just don't have them in here, but they'll be in the shop. The turquoise blue and lime on Bounce, the grape juice purple and turquoise blue on Bounce. The pink and green on Bounce, and then a couple that are on Bedazzled are Cranberry and Forest and Cherry and Silver. I think the other ones are the light blue and lemon, and I think the Cherry and Silver again, but on Bounce. I think those are the only ones that aren't in here right now. So there will be those. Then I've got some things that were left over from when I was doing pre-order dyeing. There's 1 skein of Soft Kitty on Bedazzled. Always a favorite. There is 1 skein of Doubletree on Bounce. There are 2 skeins of Sad Panda. Oh, I take that back. There's actually going to be 2 more. All right. Well, there's 1 skein on Bounce, 1 skein on Bedazzled, and I do believe I also dyed up 2 skeins on my Traveler Sport Weight base. I don't have those reskeined yet, so I can't show you. So altogether, there should be 4 Sad Pandas up in the shop. I had a couple of oopsies. This is Carnival, which as we were rescanning it, we realized the striping pattern got wonky in one spot. So if you get this, it will be discounted. I've put a note on the band just letting you know there's a patterning irregularity in one spot. So as you're knitting it, you might just want to be aware of that. I didn't cut it out because I didn't want to cut the yardage in case it ended up not being an issue for whoever was using it, but it's there. And then this is Polly Want a Cracker on Bounce. There's actually nothing wrong with this other than the fact that some green dye made its way over into the yellow. I mean, there's always some color bleeds, but this actually, it's spilled in a place it should not have. So there are going to be spots in the yellow that have some greenish tinge to them. So if you don't mind that irregularity, there you go. It'll be up at a discount. Otherwise, you know, that's the story with that. Okay, so now all the stuff that I specifically dyed for the shop this time, this is where it gets fun. Since I was dyeing Rainbow Riot for the mini skeins and for the laceweight gradient, I decided to do some just on self-striping. So there will be 2 skeins of Rainbow Riot on Bounce. And also, since I was doing the Colors of Happiness in the laceweight gradient, I decided to do it on Bounce too, because I don't think I've ever done it as a self-striping. So this is 7 colors. Rainbow Riot is 6. This is 7 stripes. I absolutely adore this colorway. The bright, they are the colors of happiness for me is what they are. So I'm trying to get it to focus. See, Melissa was under the theory that if I covered up my sunflower picture, it would focus better. And sometimes it does. Melissa, you were right, but sometimes it's not. So there we go. I just love these colors. They do make me happy. So there will be 2 skeins of that. Then there is actually going to be 2 skeins. There are actually going to be 2 full skeins of the Growing Peas and Carrots, which was April's Minis of the Month self-striping color. So there are those. And those are on Bounce. So far, all that's on Bounce. Now, let's see. Oh, also on Bounce, there will be, no, I'm lying. This is not Bounce. This is Traveler. So I do believe it's 2 skeins on Bounce and then 2 skeins on my Sport Weight Traveler base, Time to Make the Donuts, which I have not dyed this colorway in a while. People have always liked this color. It's my Dunkin' Donuts inspired colorway. But this is the Sport Weight one. There are 2, will also be 2 on Bounce. There are, I believe, 2 gunmetals on Bounce. These are all ones you've seen before. Let's see. The other ones you've seen before. Davy Jones Locker. I did 2 of those on Bedazzled and 2 of those on Traveler, the Sport Weight. I love the Sport Weight. And I'll tell you what, I've had people who have ordered it write to me and say, are you sure this is Sport Weight? It looks really light. Like it looks more like a fingering. And it does. It has that look, but it knits up definitely like a Sport Weight. I can attest to that because I'm doing socks out of it now. It's just the way it's plied. It's a very tight ply, but it's definitely a Sport Weight. So just letting you know that. But anyway, Davy Jones Locker. Okay, you've seen this before too. This is Cloudy with a Chance of Cherry Blossoms, and I've got 2 of those on Bounce and 2 of those on Traveler. I'm trying to get that Traveler out there more because Sport Weight socks are so nice to make. I love this base. I love this Sport Weight base. It makes me really happy. Okay, now we're going to get to some things that you haven't seen before. Well, you have seen this. Okay, Pie Day. I did up 2 Pie Days on Bounce, and actually I think I have a 3rd one left over from some pre-orders. So there will be at least 2, maybe 3 on Bounce and 2 on Traveler. Now remember, Pie Day was the yarn that I did. The striping is totally random, not random, but non-repeating because the stripe sequence follows the order of the digits in pi. So 3.1, 4, 1, I don't know, 1, 5. I don't have it memorized. I should have for as much as I have wound it lately. But anyway, this is the original Pie Day colorways. And there had been much talk about, was I going to do another Pie Day colorway, like the same striping sequence, only in different colors for different flavors of pie. Because remember, this has the key lime green, peach pie, chocolate cream, the brown, strawberry rhubarb, which is that pinkish one, and then apple, which is the cinnamon colored one. Okay, so those were the original flavors of pie in the Pie Day yarn. Well, I did do a second helping of pie, and that is what it will be called, the colorway. And here it is. So it's much different than the first one. Here's the first one. The second one, it has some much deeper, brighter colors. There's 2 on Bounce and 2 on Traveler. And let me introduce you to the flavors of pie in this one. Let's see. There is a deep purple that I did for blueberry. Now, I realize it's blueberry, not purpleberry, but if you actually ever cut blueberries, you know how purple they become. So I'm using some artistic license with some of these stripes, just letting you know. So we've got blueberry. We have lemon meringue, so that's the yellow. We have cherry, which will be that bright cherry pink, which I know cherry pie isn't bright cherry pink, but again, artistic license here. Where's the next color? Oh, pumpkin. Sorry. I'm looking right at it, which is a darker orange than my normal orange. Like I have a pumpkin orange semi-solid. That's not this orange though. This is a darker, it's more like the spices in the pumpkin pie, that pumpkin pie filling color. That's what I was going for. And then lastly, there is this brown, which is pecan pie brown. Let's see, where's a better spot to show that to you? So right there. So that is the 5 flavors in a second helping of pie. And like the first one, you will find a stitch marker affixed to one end of your yarn when you're opening it up to wind it into a ball. That stitch marker denotes where the beginning of the pie numeric sequence begins in your yarn. So if you care about that and want to cast on there, you can. So, second helping of pie. I hope you like it. I enjoyed doing it. A couple of other new colorways. Oh, well, first of all, Bollywood will be in the shop, both on Bounce and in Traveler. That was the bright pink and orange that I had done a while back. It was in the shop. It's sold out, so I did some more of that, but it hasn't been reskeined. But 2 new colorways. This one I'm really excited about. I'm excited about both of them, actually. But this one, I'm just gaga over at the moment because I love these colors, and I'm calling this Magic Carpet. It has a definite Arabian kind of feel to it. The bright tents and everything that you see when you think about like Arabian Nights kind of themes. This is a 4-stripe colorway. There will be, let's see. Yeah, I'll have the mock-ups in the listing so that you can see how it will stripe. But there are 2 on Bedazzled and 2 on Traveler. So you've got that magenta, purpley color. And then there is the turquoise blue, and it's a brighter limey green, which is actually showing up yellow right there. Brighter limey green, and then kind of the darker bright purple. So those are the colors in there. So this is Magic Carpet, and I hope you like that. The last one is one I have been wanting to do forever. I've had this idea for a while, and I've just never had a chance to do it. And this is movie related. And if you like zombie movies, you might like this one. I'm not, like, zombie movies aren't my big favorite movie type in the world, but I love the movie Zombieland. It's one my kids and I loved watching, and it makes me laugh. I like that movie. And I've wanted to do a Zombieland inspired colorway for a while. And so this is it. And it's called Double Tap. Now, if you've watched the movie Zombieland, you know that that was one of the rules for survival. You always shoot a zombie twice, hence double tap, to make sure it's dead, right? So that's where the name comes from. But this is also a 4-stripe colorway. So you've obviously got your zombie green. You can't have a zombie colorway without some zombie green in there. Are you going to focus? Come on now. Oh, goodness. Come on. All right. Anyway, there is zombie green in there. And then, you know, the zombies are always all about eating the, oh, there we go, the the blood and fleshy guts, and so that's that dark, bloody, gutty red. Isn't that attractive? I love how my description just sounds so appetizing. I hope you're not eating right now. So the zombie green, the blood and guts, dark red, and then one of the main characters in the movie was Tallahassee. So we've got, and he was my favorite character. We've got the brown, which represents the wood on Tallahassee's shotgun, hence double tap, what you're shooting your zombies with. And if you watch the movie, and I hope this isn't a spoiler, so if you haven't seen it and you don't want to hear it, just fast forward a second, but the yellow, you know what the yellow represents, right? Twinkies. Because throughout the whole movie, that is what Tallahassee's quest was. He was searching for Twinkies, because even Twinkies are going to survive any apocalypse, even a zombie one. So he was on this mad quest for Twinkies throughout the entire movie. It was just sort of this little subplot. So you gotta have the Twinkie yellow in there. So anyway, this is double tap. And again, there will be 4 skeins of this. Yes, 4 skeins, 2 on Bounce, 2 on Traveler. And I think that's it. Oh my gosh, that feels like so much. I'm going to be working on getting all of that up in preview mode in the shop today and tomorrow. And again, the update will be on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So anyway, I hope there's something here that you like. I was really back in my dyeing groove this week. You know, like I said, last week was slow and I was having a hard time getting back to it because I was just so tired and I needed the time off. This week, been full force dyeing, so much fun, loving doing the new colorways. I've got more ideas for new colorways, but I've got to pace myself. I just have to, because I can't get them all in the shop as much as people tend to want to see new colorways if I do them all at one time. So, okay, I think that's everything. I feel like I'm on the verge of babbling now. So I'm going to go. Again, I will put show notes up in the shop or on the Ravelry, in the Ravelry group in the episode thread. And if you have questions about anything, the knit along or the update or anything that's happening, please just either post your questions in the episode thread or PM me on Ravelry. And other than that, I hope you are enjoying your springtime weather. And yeah, have a great week. Again, I won't see you next week because I will be traveling, but I will podcast the following week. And until then, take care. Bye.